everyone, we are Group 2. We've chosen two speeches from BBC Learning English. The first one is Will COVID-19 change cities? And the other one is Coronavirus dealing with mass unemployment. So let's get started with the number one. Welcome Jenny and Teresa.
Hello, this is 6 Minutes English from BBC Learning English. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Jenny.
From the bubonic plague to cholera and tuberculosis, disease and epidemics have changed the way cities have been built. For example, buildings in 19th century Paris were designed with large, high-up windows to allow plenty of sunlight. They were supposed to stop the spread of tuberculosis.
Coronavirus has been no different. In lockdown, cities from Rio to Barcelona were transformed as wildlife and birdsong replaced the noise of taxing homes and traffic. And with no car pollution, you could even see the stars at night.
In this program, we will be asking if cities after lockdown will ever be the same again, and if we want them to be.
We will be hearing some ideas from different cities around the world.
And of course, we'll be learning some new vocabulary along the way. One of the cities most affected by COVID-19 was Mumbai in India. But approximately how many people were affected? What's the estimated population of Mumbai? That's my quiz question for you today, Jenny. Is it A, 15 million people, B, 20 million people, or C, 25 million people?
I know Mumbai is an international megacity, so I will say B, 20 million people.
Okay, Jenny, we'll find out later if that's right. Now, Isa is a professor of architecture at Princeton University in the United States. She spent years researching the relationship between cities and disease. Here, she is talking with Jennifer, presenter of BBC World Rights program, The Inquiry.
Take tuberculosis. Unlike cholera, which was eliminated in London by redesigning the sewage system in the 1850s, TB was airborne.
It became a real problem with the rise of the industrial cities, the metropolis, before an antibiotic was effective.
1 in 7 people on the planet had TB, but in dense cities like Paris, it was 1 in 3. Closely packed tenements meant the disease spread like wildfire, and architects and planning experts responded.
Some diseases like cholera could be prevented by redesigning cities to improve hygiene, like the wastewater sewers in 19th century London. But the problem with tuberculosis, or TB for short, was that the disease is airborne, carried and spread in the air.
Adding to the problem was the fact that antibiotics, medicines like penicillin that can destroy harmful bacteria or stop their growth, was not discovered until 1928, too late to save the thousands of people who died in Mumbai, New York, Paris, and other cities during the 1800s.
Diseases like TB kill more and more people as cities industrialized and grew bigger and bigger, leading to the creation of the metropolises, the largest, busiest, and most important city in a country or region.
Many people crowded together in large metropolises, meaning that disease could spread like wildfire, and idiom meaning spread quickly around many people.
Even today, disease is shaping our cities. In post-COVID Paris, new ideas for a 15-minute city aim to make all public services available within a 15-minute walk to help people working from home.
Other countries want to build better, more affordable housing outside the city center.
But according to Mumbai resident Dr. Isa, this won't work, even if the housing on offer is better. But why? The reason is work.
When you shift them out, you're moving them away from their livelihoods, and they're not going to be able to sustain themselves there. So they'll be coming back because their jobs are in the city, and they cannot afford a commute from further off places.
Dr. Isa there talking on the BBC World Service program, The Inquiry. Trying to make cities less crowded is one way to minimize the risks from disease, But moving people away from the city center means moving them away from their livelihood, their job or other way of earning money to pay for food, housing, and clothing.
Many people still want to live beyond their workplace in the city center because they can afford to pay for the commute, the journey between their home and the place of work.
Which is real problem when you live in a city of how many people did you say live in Mumbai, Teresa?
Oh yes, in our quiz question, I asked you what the estimated population of Mumbai is.
I said B 20 million.
And you're absolutely right. Around 20 million people live in Mumbai metropolis, making it very difficult to socially distance.
In this program, we've been discussing the relationship between cities and disease. In the 1800s, tuberculosis or TB killed thousands because it was an airborne disease, spread in the air and hard to prevent.
Antibiotics, medicine chemicals like penicillin, which can destroy harmful germs, couldn't help because they weren't discovered until decades later.
So in metropolises, the largest and most important cities, where people live crowded close together, diseases spread like wildfire and idiom meaning spread wildly and quickly.
In Mumbai and other places, the problem remains that many people need the city for their livelihood, job or other way of earning money.
So they prefer to live in the city center instead of paying for the daily commute, a journey often by train, bus, or car from your home to your workplace.
That's all we have time for in this program, but remember, you can find more useful vocabulary, changing topics, and help with your language learning here at BBC Learning English. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hello, this is 6 Minutes English from BBC Learning English. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Isa.
You and I are lucky, Isa, because we can do our jobs remotely, working from home. There are some downtowns though, like now being able to meet up with friends or share ideas with colleagues.
And going out for lunch.
But the coronavirus pandemic has caused millions of people to lose their job and forced thousands more out of work temporarily with no idea if their job will still be there when they return.
For those daily workers without savings to pay the rent and feed their families, it has been especially stressful. Each job loss is a potential personal tragedy.
In this program, we'll be assessing the post-COVID job landscape and asking whether a radical new approach is needed to prevent global mass unemployment.
We'll be asking whether one of the world's smallest and richest countries, Denmark, might hold the answer.
And of course, we'll be learning some new vocabulary as well. But first, it's time for our quiz question. One man who knows a lot about jobs is Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, a company employing over 150,000 workers. He's made gloomy predictions about the number of the people out of work, but how many people does he predict will be left unemployed this year as a result of the coronavirus pandemic? Is it A, 1/4 of a billion people, B, 1/3 of a billion people, or C, 500 million people?
Wow, those numbers really look gloomy. I'll say B, 1/3 of a billion people unemployed around the world.
Okay, Isa, welcome back to the later. Now, mass unemployment, millions of people losing their jobs due to the COVID pandemic, has left the world facing an enormous job challenge. Jenny Hu of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology is author of the report Work of the Future. Here she is talking to BBC World Service program Business Daily about the current situation.
Well, I think in the short term, it does feel like we are not yet in a place where we can talk about recovery and rebuilding completely. We are still gonna see the ramifications, the impact, and the ripple effect of all this for months to come.
We use the expressions in the long term and in the short term to talk about what will happen over a long or short period of time. In the short term, over a short period of time, Jenny thinks it's too early to talk about a jobs recovery.
She also warns that we haven't yet experienced the full impact of ramifications of the pandemic. Like turn a stone into water, these consequences create a ripple effect, a situation where one effect causes a series of effects which spread and produce further effects.
According to Jenny, the problem is that many of the government measures put in place to support jobs are not sustainable in the long term. She says more radical change is needed.
Of course, the big question is how? One proposed solution is the Danish model. This balances citizens' rights and duties.
Denmark provides one of the world's most generous unemployment payouts, but in return, citizens are expected to commit to any job or training the government thinks would be beneficial.
Teresa Zhao, senior fellow at the Peterson Institute in Washington, is herself a Dane. Here she explained to BBC Business Daily how the model works.
It's very easy to hire and fire people in Denmark. It doesn't cost you anything, and you don't have sort of guaranteed job for life once you get a permanent contract, which is the situation in many continental European countries. So it combines labor market flexibility with employment security. Namely, the idea that people, if they lose their job, they know that they can find another job even if that requires them to pick up new skills, because that upskilling or reskilling is going to be made available to them, possibly through very lavish government subsidies.
Denmark enjoys labor flexibility because it's easy for bosses to hire and fire, employ someone and release them from employment, meaning there's no such thing as a job for life, one that you can stay in all your working life.
But citizens also have the security of lavish, generous, and expensive benefits, and the government will also pay for worker upskilling, training to learn new skills, making them better at their jobs.
And thereby preventing unemployment, which reminds me of your quiz question, Jennifer.
Yes, I asked you how many people were predicted to lose their jobs to the COVID pandemic.
And I said B, 1/3 of a billion.
Well, fortunately, it's a slightly lower, but still worrying figure of 1/4 of a billion people.
We've been discussing predictions for mass unemployment in the short term, or over a short time period, caused by the coronavirus pandemic. It also seems we'll be experiencing the ripple effect, series of consequences, of the virus for a long time to come.
One solution to mass unemployment may be the Danish model, where the power to hire or fire, employ someone or make them employed, means there are not many jobs for life, jobs you can do all your working life.
But lavish, expensive and generous, benefits from the government, who also pay for upskilling or training in new skills, means that Danish unemployment is really out of control.
That's all we have time for, but come back soon for more trending topics and useful vocabulary here at 6 Minutes English from BBC Learn English. Bye for now!
Bye!